There we go. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's a new episode of Great Ace Attorney. I'm Joe. That's Travis.
Hello. We are back. It is the 9th of January. The ship nearly took a collision.
It actually is the 9th of January.
Wow, look at that.
We're recording this actually on January 9th. That's incredible.
Well, you couldn't time that.
You really can't.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
I was like, wait a minute. Is this actually? Wow, that's crazy.
Huh. If we had recorded this an hour and a half later, that wouldn't have worked out.
Nope, it wouldn't have.
Missed it by that much.
That is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway.
But anyways, yeah, we almost collided with another ship, it sounds like. And the whole room that we were in just got completely destroyed again.
Yep. So we're cleaning up a mess, and we're making it nice and neat.
Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. So Sada-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. And I was talking to Joe before this, but my theory was that the murder mystery is not actually a locked room mystery, based on what we just saw.
Yeah, because... Yeah, and I do think that's right, because the ship turned, we went sideways, easily the bolt could have just slipped into the hole and locked the door.
It's just weird that both rooms were simultaneously destroyed at the same time with both bolted.
Right, exactly. What you are doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Oh, you both look unhurt. Good.
Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about we were going to collide with another ship.
Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though.
Oh, how did that happen?
How do you misreport? Oh, we're gonna hit a ship. Like, I don't know. All right.
captain was covering up a fart.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, there was a dense fog outside. It's from the fucking captain.
It was the chili. We figured out what was inside it.
It was Wendy's chili. We found out the secret ingredient.
We threw her overboard.
Yeah. So it was extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere.
Huh.
This first class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see.
Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside?
Oh, so that does it.
You wicked intruder, dressed in all black, you are the devil.
Big brother!
Big brother!
Oh, God. She's
Sorry,
back.
me? I've caused a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin.
Inspector!
Yeah.
Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is criminal. It is not enough that he has killed a man.
Da. And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? That's a joke from Homeland.
Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away. Trespassing, killing. She is right. You are the devil.
He's also a pervert.
You are a Jersey devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we'll give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Wait, why are we going straight to Hong Kong? It's because somebody was murdered.
Must be a port.
Yeah.
Must be a port. Please, Inspector Hasanakis, there's nothing you can do. This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. Kind of worthless, actually. After my last efforts to appeal to the good captain's good nature, the nature of the captain,
It's the
captain's
nature.
nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is just terrible.
This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately!
So, we gotta find something.
We'll fight our way out.
Okay, so I'm guessing we can look at a whole bunch of stuff now.
I think so.
Probably don't want to look around too much. All right, we'll talk to her first.
Miss Pavlova, can I get out? Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but
Get out! Now!
we just needed to investigate in here to help understand what happened to...
Simbak!
Recalculating.
It's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will...
I think that was actual Russian too.
I think
It
so.
was impressive.
Please, just give me a little more time.
I do nothing for you, except show you way to ship's prison cell.
Why do you look like you were grilled?
He does.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Looks like he was only flipped on one side. His back didn't get it, but
It was that bitch Wendy. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone.
and trespassing and stowing away.
Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and well,
Enough. You are guilty. Ship's cell is only place fit for you.
come on, there has to be someone. Some savior to rescue me from this crisis.
Somebody over here? Uh-huh. Why? Why are you hanging on the wall?
Just hanging around. What the? What are you doing up there? Ooh. Mr. Sholmes!
Why's he got a tiara on?
Yeah,
Oh. Isn't that the tiara she was missing?
I think so. That's the speckled band, I think.
Ah.
Ooh.
Naturally. I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels on one head.
For why?
Haven't I told you that as a detective, it's my business to know what other people do not? Can you pose? This is mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no.
Well, why are you hanging from that hook before then?
Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally.
my dream to be a chandelier.
Ooh, look at these. Little rumble and jungle action. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. What the hell are you talking about?
Do you see this heat that I'm putting out here?
Yeah, look at it. Look at these moves.
Lightning.
God damn. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
Yeah, it's probably a good thought process. Oh, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess, I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved by me, naturally.
Oh! What?
What?
Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist.
You are all the killers. Goodbye.
Goodbye. So allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. How many times can I say great in a sentence? God.
Surprised he didn't grate cheese while he was doing it.
Just broke the land speed record for talking about himself.
I know. Cheese o pizza. You solved it. Even the Hedgehog understands this case. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hedgehog is blue.
He is very blue. They call him Blue Blur. But I also called Vladimir Putin Blue
He
Blur.
wear a red sneaker. It's a good compliment to the blue.
Yes. We all knew who was responsible for killing student boy this morning. When we found criminal, I used K with criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. Maybe he's just kinky.
Maybe. I didn't do it.
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be somewhere who was inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Locked room. That is point.
The room.
Was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside. You just saw it happen.
You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance that used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door.
What other entrance? We never discovered one.
Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator man.
A ventilator?
You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through the hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
Hell yeah, they are.
Look at this meat.
That's why they call me Beef Stroganoff.
You're suggesting... Oh, this is Hasanaga.
Sorry, wrong voice.
Sorry, wrong voice. I did not mean it. Sorry. Continue, Inspector.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Thank you for beating me up, by the way. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible.
Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. ...
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam.
Well, what does it mean? What is this speckled band?
The answer to this particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Ooh, I'm ready to tussle.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all, to see what will shock you to your cores. Get you, Bose! Behold!
Ah! What the?
Oh! Hey! It's a snake?
What?
She had as a pet snake.
Okay. Cool.
Do it. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band. That makes sense,
That's
actually.
the spec. Okay, yeah.
Colors and stuff, yeah.
A snake?
Indubitably.
Oh. Oh, 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 oh.
Well, this just got kinky.
Yeah. I love how the guy is just like, this is fine. I don't mind. I don't mind the snake being on me.
In Soviet Russia, we hug bears.
Yes.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
You notice that the sailor dude, his little tie there kind of looks like a fish?
I wonder if that's why his face is the marks.
Ah.
It's just very interesting that it would be wrapped around his face.
It is interesting. Yeah, you're right. Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake, isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Or strippy. Ooh, no, I'm kidding.
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? Ooh.
Dot, dot, dot. You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
What the hell are you talking about?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
Where's the trap?
Where's the trap?
Ryunosuke, come over here so I can flip you. How exactly?
I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought.
Oh boy.
Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one. Last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two. That same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Shams must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asugi?
Yes.
It looks like it can't speak. He can't speak with the snake coiled around his head.
I would advise a little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck.
I always knew Kazuya was into bondage.
So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Oh boy, TM.
TM. Get that patent on it. Oh boy, here we go. It's this crap again.
Yeah.
Intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
How did you do that?
Yet, you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall these horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain.
There's the question mark.
Yep. And it is that very pain that evidences your
Inextrudable.
Oh my god. Inextrudable. Thanks to Pat. Can you stop using big words, please?
It's like a marathon you have to run with Sholmes.
Like, honestly. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? God, fucking. Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? As I suspected, another telltale glance. And then this guy. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. Whoa. Oh, he's getting a little aggressive there.
It's getting a little tense.
The victim's written observation on that night in question tells of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way.
Please don't. He doesn't like that.
He does not like that. No flash photography. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes that night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, That which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be those snakes. Sloth. No, is that how you say that? Sloth?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Skin? Okay. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in the cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side of this bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled man. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it lost its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Beloved speckled snake.
Wouldn't the snake going down that cord cause the bells to chang?
You would think so.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, I get to talk more. Here we go. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. Great content there, Pavlova.
Yeah.
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds that by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After all, after the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in your dead traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't.
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
To train?
Wow. Okay. Indeed. You put the serpent through this ventilator and wait, after a period, you summoned it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It is not true.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once more. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible.
There's no bite marks or entry wounds, and they already checked for poison.
Yeah, that's the kind of the problem here.
Yeah. Like, if you want to go by the logic, he broke his neck.
This concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. The only thing that makes sense to me, because he's must be a boa constrictor, and he might have, because it was a neck thing.
Mm-hmm.
The boa constrictor wrapped around his neck, choked him out.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
What's weird to me is, like, he clearly saw it,
Uh-huh.
and he didn't go to bed. So, like, you think he would have caught the snake before it, like, attacked.
He saw, well, it was dimly lit, as they said.
Okay, fair.
So he didn't know what it was. He just saw a speckled band.
Fair. Okay.
So, yeah, he had no idea that that was actually a snake coming
Okay.
after him.
Makes sense.
Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key of to training any creature.
Incredible. You solved the mystery.
Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name.
My dear man.
I am full mast.
Ah, yes. Look at me. Witness me.
Look at me with those eyes.
It was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Which leaves another free.
Ooh.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my methods, and will answer both loudly and proudly. It's the only way I do it.
Oh, well, good. First of all, let me throw the book at you real quick. Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You pose. You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah, I'm embarrassed.
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova has used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example the logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
That's true.
I'm embarrassed again.
Yes, I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling.
Going down to half-mast.
Yes. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute?
Or vibrations.
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see.
We're about quartermast now.
No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless.
Don't take it on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. I'll take it on your snake, boy.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use their scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, you're an idiot. Even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say, you're wrong, is that there's a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
Man, he's destroyed.
You know, all they have to do is put like a rope around his neck there, and that's a very different picture.
I was just thinking of that too, yeah.
Because man, yikes, that's a pretty graphic picture there.
Pretty grim pose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like honestly, they could have just had him like slumped over or whatever, not like not like that.
Right.
Mini dots.
Well, this is awkward.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruto.
Oh, no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruto.
Yes, right.
Of course. Give you pose. So cast your eyes down your wrists again.
What? You've done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go?
Fear not. I shall see they are restored after our work is done.
I really wish you'd leave them off.
Like, honestly. Now, everyone, let us begin. Horlick Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Edited by Naruhodo, of course. Course correction.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. Oh?
She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Cosmo-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
I mean, really get in there.
Just really get in there. Oh, she's got spinach in her teeth.
Okay. So I guess.
Yeah, I guess wrote. Oh, she got scratched. Look at her.
Oh, you're right. Where'd she get scratched?
I don't know. Claw scratch? Weird.
Oh, Naruto-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal.
So she does have a. There is another pet.
Yeah. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yeah, it could be a cat then, if it's that small of a wound.
Hold on. I thought I saw. It's like a piece of paper down here.
I think that's that news article from the Russian. That
Oh,
escaped.
you're right. You're right.
Aching heart.
Oh, do I just have to present that? I think I do. Hold on. Yeah, I
Keep
just gotta present it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Slide in the frame.
There we go.
Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain.
Indeed. And simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh.
Oh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Well, yes. Sometime last night? Okay, I see now.
Kinky.
Too many dots. Recalculating.
When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I'm sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
Slide in. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I expected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It's not.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the snake comes from, but...
It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
They're kind of useless, in fact. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of her friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Okay, follow the gaze.
Oh, picture.
Oh, yep, it is a cat.
It's a kitty.
There's the bell that was broken on the ground.
Oh, you're right.
Ah, look at the photograph in the frame. Why is she leaving that there?
Look at this photograph.
This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
This little kitty, he made me laugh. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye.
Now, what a interesting way to call a cat. A little black creature. All right.
I can't put my finger on what this thing is.
I can't. It's got a cute button nose and those ears that only go with like one animal.
The long tail. It's really truly a mystery. We may never know.
We may never know. Really? I have to analyze this thing.
Well, get.
Little kitty.
Little kitty. Don't push the boots so good.
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us.
Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Can you stop turning the lights on enough? Please. Oh no. Oh no. The lights.
It's dark. Slide in, stage right. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
What hit me?
Computing. Daka is my best friend.
That is a very Russian name
Yeah.
right there.
I couldn't leave her behind.
Daka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on that night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, slide in from the left. This specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give them, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes that night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloth skin. Ah, so it's not that. Do you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever known.
Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Strom's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that he was a ploy, too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back?
What is that? God, the camera. Oh, it's inverted controls. There we go.
Oh.
What is that?
What's that in her hand? It's brown. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at the one end.
Is that a cat toy? It's a cat toy.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, it must be a cat's toy. It's sort of common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it.
Yeah, okay.
Kids in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
That sounds positively adorable.
It is. Yes. It's a cat's toy. Ah.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy.
Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band.
Ah,
And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it.
But why? For what reason?
My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After our feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use a speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return.
Ah.
Death. It's summary. The nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is the blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Daka.
Gah!
I'm dead.
You've murdered me! Punched me, in fact.
A truly troublesome feline young Daka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. For photograph for purpose of Daka for court. There we go.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord.
And that would make sense.
What happened to the wardrobe?
Before I could do anything, she disappeared through the ventilator.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Daka. She is so naughty.
Naughty kitty.
It's naughty kitty.
Naughty kitty.
Beloved kitchen. Sold.
But we don't know how he died now.
Oh yeah, there's a second topic.
Yep.
You know about the cat, but... Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. Oh, he's dead.
That's right. I forgot about him.
How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been appraised, it would appear that there is no visible sign of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can be explained by a terrible venom. I can't.
What Mr. Solms says is true. There are no signs of a wound anywhere in Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right. But Mr. Shump seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Where is it?
Autopsy report. Far right. There you go. One more. It's the...
This one?
Yeah, it's the one. Postmortem report.
Post-mortem report.
Cutting in. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. God, this guy's an idiot.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only the Goliath that would be strong enough to survive that.
Seaman Stroganov isn't some immortal freak, you know.
The jury is out. Anyway, we have to, on good authority, that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively.
Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he probably struck by something or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably Daka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
Meow!
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could help explain what happened? Well... What's in the diary?
This. Right here.
Oh, yeah. Yes! Oh, like he slipped?
I don't know if he slipped, but...
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively.
This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by the little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. Beeswax, tallow, and dye, huh?
Interesting. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asagi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asagi must have caught his foot at this point of the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life.
No!
God, man, she's getting shot by all these words.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asagi lost his life?
Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case.
I don't believe it. Cosmo-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But
And if this part of Mr. Sholm's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. The tiara?
Really? Well, he was wearing the tiara. I just want to make sure there's nothing else. Waste paper basket? Let me look in here real quick.
Oh, something's poking.
This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably, there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, the bell.
Uh-huh.
Oh, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Oh my god, she can read my mind.
Yes! I guess we're gonna do that.
The waste paper basket.
The tiara wouldn't make sense to me, so.
She hit him over the head with a trash can.
God damn it.
That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the waste paper basket.
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact.
Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asagi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no.
Mom! Mom!
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin?
Yeah! With the left hook.
Oh, you're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't know. In that hushed.
Oh.
If you mind, I'm conducting this investigation.
Sorry, I'm just shell-shocked from the left hook.
I don't know. In that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be...
Bingo.
If you look at this photograph, every time it makes me laugh. You can clearly see, hanging from Daka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
Hi.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall.
And the cause of that fateful stumble?
Your absolute feline friend, Daka.
Huh.
So the cat found its way in there, climbed up, went in that room. He was writing, and it was dimly lit. He got up. She was trying to convince the cat to come back with the cat toy. He saw that. He probably got up because he saw that, and then got spooked by the cat being down on the floor, tripped, and then fell, hit his neck. Interesting.
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat.
What a way to go out.
Ugh. Wow. Deduction complete. Elementary. Oh, wow. That blows.
Yeah.
That blows.
Man, what a hero. Died by a cat. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
More dots.
It was a little after 1 in the morning.
Makes sense.
It was late, but I hadn't had time to feed Daka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
Perhaps people do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it.
Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Daka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
We really should just destroy them all, in fact.
Yes.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that...
Again, it's my turn to talk.
Elementary, dear boy. It's actually my turn.
Yeah. Who cares? You know what? It doesn't matter. It's my turn to talk. It's my turn to talk. Okay, so we're almost at an hour.
Yeah.
Hopefully this wraps up pretty quick. Okay. So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Daka always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried listening to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet?
Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
It's true.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Thud.
Yeah.
I nearly passed out with shock. I nearly cried out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was.
From the appearance of the brown mark in the floor, it seems likely that's what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. Yes, his burrow is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. What became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is as insufferable restless as I am.
Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard a young man in the next cabin to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake?
You're right, where is it?
If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from?
Where did it go? Where did it come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing aboard the ship?
It's his pet. Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirosko. What the? Pirosko?
Brusco. What?
That snake belongs to you?
He escaped from cage when an emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yes, how did the snake get into his cabin?
But animals are not permitted on board.
Heh. We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? Without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake, surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Roscoe does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomless? Yes. Now he's he is hungry. So he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Heh, like you say, like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Roscoe eats mouses. Big, flat, round mouses.
Ah. Oh, so... is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I get my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eye right now.
Dot 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 dot. It refuses to drink milk. It cannot hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce does something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Perosco has nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death.
Wow. That really it? They killed off a character by accident?
There's gotta be another thing to this. We haven't even gone to trial yet.
Yeah, I know.
Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you.
But
What are you talking about, Miss Mikatova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I love that show. Actually, it's on Netflix.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. You should actually watch it. Count Olaf, played by Barney from How I Met Your Mother, is really good.
I like Jim Carrey in the role, but you know, he really brings something new to it.
Yeah, it was really fresh.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth.
Uh-oh.
Do you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Uh-oh.
Huh? To be perfectly honest, yes.
She does seem a little too distraught.
Yeah.
There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
Oh, God, what do you got? I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter.
Oh,
I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
a distraction.
I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
Ah, not again. When did he do that?
Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, I am Mr. Sholmes, clearly. Yes, but I overlooked one very important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how the scene in your cabin really came to be.
Yeah, they still haven't like explained the timing because the locked door.
That's true.
Alright, I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Excellent.
Just doesn't make sense for him to trip on a cat and then just get killed.
Right, exactly.
It had to be something more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin?
Yes.
What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life at the cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance.
We've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into the cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it?
I'm gonna have to ask you to spell it out for him, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right here in Cosmo's cabin is undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident.
Really?
Let us show our hand, Mr. Arhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident.
It has to be in the cabin, so. No, this isn't anything.
Yeah. Why would he write wardrobe in Russian? Unless he was trying to send a message to somebody that's Russian.
That's true. So maybe it's that.
Oh, unless somebody knew there was something up with the wardrobe.
I don't recall.
Okay, so let's walk this back. So everybody was a little dizzy because of some supposed like knockout, right?
Right.
Everything went like missing, and her cat was inside that room because obviously the cat was in there.
Mm-hmm.
My thought is the cat got in there, she couldn't retrieve it, so they had to find another way to get the cat out of there. Maybe the cat got hidden in some place, so they wrote in Russian wardrobe into the band there and just made it look like he wrote it to let them know where it was hidden.
So do you think it's this one or this one?
I think it is got to be the language there, because I don't know why he... Well, no, because he
here?
didn't write that, yeah. It's just weird that he would write it in Russian specifically.
Right.
Like, something tells me, because, like, they stopped reporting at 2 a.m. And...
I guess it has to be... As it says, it has to be in the thing. So it's either this picture here, this one, mark on the floor, which I already did that,
Yeah.
or it's got to be this one. So I'm going to assume it's this one.
I would think it has to be, because that is in the room. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so the truth is there. Cool.
There's no way that Mr. Asagi could have left this message on the floor.
That's correct. It's Russian, isn't it?
Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asagi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, so he wouldn't
Oh.
have been able to do that.
So they just made it look like he wrote it.
Yeah. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead.
So if the crime took place at 1 or 2 a.m., whoever was watching that door is the person that killed him.
Ah. Okay. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, even if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What?
So, Susato-san has noticed it too then.
There's something else that gives away. Another piece of evidence that proves that this was no accident. In other words,
I wasn't paying attention to what they said.
Paying attention?
Huh?
You weren't paying attention.
I was thinking about the crime thing in the timeline.
so there's another. They're just saying there's another piece of evidence in the room that proves that.
That he was dead.
Another piece of evidence that proves that this was no accident. As
guess there's no accident. I mean, Shanghai, mark on the floor. Like,
there you go. It's death. Already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin.
oh, a remnant of something. Yeah, so it's the shoe polish.
There you go.
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor.
But that's the glass bell the kitten had around his neck. We already know about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic?
Well, if the cat had it around its neck, even if he tripped over it, there's no reason why that bell should have
Shattered.
And where's the piece that that keeps it around the collar and stuff?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw, a fatal flaw.
What?
If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin?
Ah.
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova?
Oh no.
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asagi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Ooh.
Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asagi's.
You're wasting time. Oh. Someone else was there? Ah, of course, we know this.
What are you talking about?
Oh, he's just gonna say yes.
Yeah. Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out.
Oh, yes.
And only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened.
You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details.
But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message.
Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details.
Do we really have to do this again?
Would you mind?
Ah, ha, 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 ha. Forgive me, my dear fellow.
As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor, in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time.
And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell and that had fallen to the floor,
That makes more sense.
for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died.
Well, why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions.
Yes, well,
It was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
You all suspect me, don't you?
Who's that? Oh, it's...
Seaman Strognov.
Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join the ballet company. But before her, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
Ah, so that's it.
You say that when the young student died, Nina was there in the cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth.
Well,
Well, This is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth prey? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look through the eyes. Cabin bulkhead with bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go in camp. Not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through dark doors? Niet, it's impossible.
He's right.
But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close from the outside.
Thread, are you stupid? These bulkheads are not the barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight, no threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested earlier, so...
How could you shift that onto me like that? We could throw him under the bus.
I know, right?
So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside.
Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of this method I have in mind having been used before.
I don't believe it.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside.
Oh, yeah, it's the bell.
One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So would you care to do the honneurs, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling that... Okay.
The...
Huh?
So it's... Oh, maybe that siren thing is what you have to select?
Is it this?
Or the books?
It's the books because they're laying over? Or...
It's definitely when the ship tilted.
Yeah, it's when that ship tilted.
But how do you prove that? What's that warning sign thing again?
This thing?
Yeah. What does that say?
That's just like, hey, you can't have any pets, or... I can't even hit it. I can't even click on it right now.
What about the megaphone?
This thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't click on anything. It's just, hey, you just gotta present it.
So is it just the books and the door that you can present?
I think I can present anything in here. I just can't, like...
Oh, you can't examine it.
I can't examine anything right now.
So, go back to the history.
Okay.
Scroll up real quick. He said that there's something in there. You can see traces of the method I have in mind haven't been used before. So maybe he does want the books. Because those we didn't fix.
Maybe?
Yes! Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over?
Oh, yeah, and they're leaning to the left, and the way to lock it is when the thing shifts over to the left, so...
Yeah. Because in our room, when we woke up, all the books were slanted over like that, too. Until she cleaned it.
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe. Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects.
Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or is it or that it isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door.
Ah!
It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made it earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like...
Inspector Hasanaga. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of
He's trying to say inertia, but he's saying ineptia.
Okay, yeah, Neptia, if you want to call it that. I was like, that's not right.
Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed?
Yep. That's exactly what happened. There it goes.
The SS Burra made another emergency stop?
When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hands across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh, yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asagi's cabin.
Oh my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Burra made emergency stop?
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm.
Oh, yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you to only press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of the number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Don't look at me. I didn't do anything. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things are happening in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As it did indeed a little earlier today. Oh, so he was the one that did it just a little bit ago.
Yep.
But he didn't do it last night.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
It's fair. He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship? I report you to the captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So, what we must now consider.
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop or did it not?
You're idiots. Burya is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What heavens, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night.
I don't think that's gonna help us.
Right here.
Yeah. That report.
There, it's you.
Seaman Strognov. It's your duty to patrol the first class area of the ship, isn't that right?
Da, that is correct. Why?
And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties.
What are you doing with that? That is mine. What I do with my duties is only my business. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift burrow in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always.
The point is, looking at where you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log.
That is... because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you?
Well, indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Burra. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish.
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh, why?
Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
But that's where that gas thing comes in, because everybody's head is pounding.
Yeah.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no, that's a good point.
What of the throbbing?
Sorry? What do you mean?
Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. You have all suffered with it. Ah!
Oh yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. I haven't flipped over this guy once. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right. My head's been throbbing today, too.
Hey, keep it in your pants, buddy.
Yeah.
And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything felt sort of hazy.
Oh, so they put stuff in the food.
Yep.
I can't remember anything after it happened. I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all this was happening to me?
Tell me, Mr. Narholo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yes. Sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Ah, well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dinner that was served yesterday evening, I take it.
Oh, Kazuya saw something he wasn't supposed to.
Yep.
He was supposed to be asleep.
Yep.
Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
Yes, it was undercooked.
Yes, it was. I wanted dark meat, not white meat. I do.
No, really? Is that really true?
The meals prepared for the passengers last night has been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consume it.
A sleeping drug.
Do you mean? Whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop.
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Placing every meal of every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator.
What? Mr. Sholmes?
Well, Seaman. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there will have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. I don't know.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel.
I don't believe it.
You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken, that's last night.
Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Dah. We could not make all drug. How do you say dissolve?
Ah, talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by a comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Burroughs slept soundly. Ugh, jeez. Thanks to an almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained.
So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosimo's cabin door.
Man.
Well, how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been a complete chaos.
Oh, I wouldn't say so.
Huh?
Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which they would have been overwhelmed by the tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it unremarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship. The culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked long enough and said the many things. What is the point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But... I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. Well, I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo,
Oh, yes?
do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind.
What accusatory cries of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me.
Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, if you please. I don't know if I can save this. Oh, I can. Okay.
Cool. You can save it.
Okay. I think that's long enough.
Yeah.
Let's save the final wrap up of whatever this case is. I don't even know if we're going to a trial at this point.
I don't think so.
This might be just like, hey, there's 2 different ways we're gonna solve cases in this game. So yeah. Until next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.